storm which has been brewing between Washington and General MacArthur finally breaks with the news that the Supreme Commander has been dismissed by President Truman. Members of the press leave the conference in Washington to release the world-shaking story which will affect international policy in every capital. The center of the controversy, General Douglas MacArthur, is shown at his Tokyo headquarters. Here he administered the occupation of defeated Japan and directed the defense of Korea. At the request of the United Nations, President Truman appointed him to lead the Allied powers in the fight against communism in the Far East. In Japan and at the front, he served the nation and the United Nations with unfailing vigor. His record in previous campaigns brought him an enviable reputation as a fearless warrior. His many visits to the Korean front lines kept him constantly informed of the situation and the movements of the communist armies arrayed against his command. President Truman flew to meet with MacArthur last year, and on that occasion they discussed overall policy and apparently agreed on future conduct of the fight against red aggression. But in the final analysis, the disagreements between immediate strategy and international diplomacy resulted in General MacArthur's dismissal. General Ridgway now takes over from MacArthur as Supreme Commander, Allied Powers, Commander-in-Chief, United Nations Command, Commander-in-Chief, Far East, and Commanding General, United States Army, Far East. In Washington, congressmen voiced their individual opinions of the president's order. Republicans and Democrats alike are forthright in their public comment. Representative Morgan, Democrat of Pennsylvania.
The first qualification of a soldier is to be able to carry out commands. General MacArthur seems to be above that qualification. He has defied both the chiefs of staff and a trust placed in him by the United Nations. I commend the action of the president.
Senator Ferguson, Republican from Michigan.
I believe that the president's action today in the removal of General MacArthur was a tragic mistake. I'm of the opinion it was caused by the president's failure to recognize the overall communist aggression, that it is global and international. It is, in my opinion, an appeasement of the British philosophy that was brought here in December by Mr. Attlee. I also feel that it is against the best interests of America.
Senator Lister Hill, Democrat from Alabama.
The president's action shows that he is resolved to stay out of a terrible, all-out war in China, and I agree with him. The matter is so vital to the peace and security of our country and to the lives of millions of America's young men, I hope it may be considered on its merits and not on any basis of politics or personalities.
At the White House, the administration, represented by the president, is seriously concerned. Mr. Truman speaks to the nation, outlining the reasons for his action regarding world policy.
I believe that we must try to limit the war to Korea for these vital reasons: to make sure that the precious lives of our fighting men are not wasted, to see that the security of our country and the free world is not needlessly jeopardized, and to prevent a third world war. A number of events have made it evident that General MacArthur did not agree with that policy. I have therefore considered it essential to relieve General MacArthur so that there would be no doubt or confusion as to the real purpose and aim of our policy. It was with the deepest personal regret that I found myself compelled to take this action. General MacArthur is one of our greatest military commanders, but the cause of world peace is much more important than any individual. The change in commands in the Far East means no change whatever in the policy of the United States. We will carry on the fight in Korea with vigor and determination in an effort to bring the war to a speedy and successful conclusion. The free nations have united their strength in an effort to prevent a third world war. That war can come if the communist rulers want it to come. But this nation and its allies will not be responsible for its coming. We do not want to widen the conflict. We will use every effort to prevent that disaster. And in so doing, we know that we are following the great principles of peace, freedom, and justice.